Hey everybody, it's Mitch, and welcome to my next video. Today, I am going to be doing another Dungeons & Dragons 3.5 video for you. And today, we are going to be looking at the Bard. And more specifically, as you may have guessed from the title, their casting. So I'm going to be giving you some spell advice for how to treat casting as a Bard. So let's get started with this. So bards, they are pretty good casters. Are they as good as a wizard or a sorcerer? No, they're definitely not as good as a wizard or a sorcerer. They're not as good as a cleric. They're not as good as a druid at casting, for sure. But they're not too terribly far off, actually. They get up to 6th level spells, and their 6th level spells are better than a wizard's 6th level spells, for the most part. So that's pretty good. I'd say they're probably close to on par with a wizard's 7th level spells. So yeah, they're basically a 3/4 caster. Now you're not going to be going into a bard, to replace a wizard, but you're fairly close. So yeah. Now the bard is listed as a jack of all trades, but they're not really. Their ability to fight in melee combat isn't the greatest. I mean, it's a little bit better than like the wizards for the most part, especially since they do have a better base attack bonus. But that's about it. So, and they don't get familiars naturally. They would have to take a feat in order to get a familiar. So that's a thing for the bard. Now, the bard is a charisma-based caster, and they do spontaneously cast, much like a sorcerer. So what you're going to be wanting to do is, you're going to want to pick some decent spells. I think they actually get a decent number of spells per day, too. Let me just double check real fast. Yeah, their spells known is actually pretty good. I think better than the sorcerer, if I recall. So you don't have to be as selective as like a sorcerer would on spells known. Yeah, they actually are better at a sorcerer, but not by much in terms of spells known. But yeah, so you don't have to be as selective, which does leave you a little bit of freedom to what spells you're going to pick. They have a really interesting list that's actually way more diverse than like a wizard or sorcerer list for a lot of things. Now, because you have a lot of options, it wouldn't be bad to pick up a couple of cure spells on your known list. Not many. You don't want more than like 2 or 3. I wouldn't do more than that. Kind of space out the leveling a bit. Yeah, because they're not the best spells out there, but they can be handy in a pinch. And weirdly enough, you actually get cure spells. That's something that's very, very unusual for an arcane caster. But bards, they have them, so that's nice. But again, just like with divine casters, it's not your best option, so you're probably going to want to tone that back a little bit. Now, in terms of other things that they get, there's a few spells out there that actually buff their Inspire Courage ability, which Inspire Courage is one of the best things about the Bard. So definitely one of the better things to keep in mind there. On top of that, it's not the end of the world. It's not a bad idea if you want to, get some more some other spells like one spell that's particularly good on a bard is Otto's Irresistible Dance. Great spell and a little bit better for a bard to use. Just really, really nice because basically all you have to do is succeed on a touch attack, and it just works. There's no saving throw, and it makes them just dance uncontrollably for a few turns, which is really nice since it gets rid of your enemy's turns for like 3 turns or something. It's like I think it's 1d4 plus 1, so I think an average of 3 or 4. So that's pretty solid. On top of that, they're also provoking attacks the entire time, which is just nice. And they can't really do anything. They're basically helpless. So that's quite nice. I don't think they're actually helpless, but they're quite vulnerable. So yeah, great one. I wouldn't keep that one too heavy, just because the fact that you know it's it's you don't get it till 6th level, and it does require melee, which bards aren't the best at, contrary to popular belief. Um, you don't want to be going too heavy with that. Now, if you are going to go into melee, um, it's not a bad idea to maybe take a level dip in like fighter or something, or maybe something from Tome of Battle if you have access, in order to be able to in order to be able to cast in heavy armor, because bards are able to cast in light armor normally. So being able to do that in heavier armor, plus being able to use better weapons than what the bard normally has available, if you're going to be fighting in melee, that's the way to do it. But it's not really the best option. So don't necessarily go that route. Although, if you can pick up some good mithril light armor, definitely grab that, because that's going to be helpful and it'll help you be less squishy. So like mithril medium armor, so technically light, definitely worth it. And I think there's a way to actually get like heavy armor down to light. So yeah, I think like Fakecraft or something like that. Very, very, very good. So yeah, that's going to be their intro on melee. But for other spells, things like Glitter Dust is a nice one. It helps get rid of invisibility. It's only like a 1st level spell, so no save for the important part of it. There is a saving throw for Glitter Dust, but that's just for like a blinding effect, which you don't even really care that much about. So not really the end of the world on that. Yeah. On top of that, there's a number of other good spells as well. Let's see. Inspirational Boost will help get you, buff your Inspire Courage. Like I was saying, there's some other good ones with like Swift Invisibility is a really nice one, so you can just become invisible yourself. And I think you get that like really at just 1st level, so that's pretty nice. And it's a swift action. There's a number of they get a number of decent stuff. But one of the things that you're really going to want to focus on more than anything is your buffing spells. Those are things that you really want to focus hard on, is buffing, because bard spells are some of the best buffing spells in the game. There are better classes for it than bards. Like clerics are really, really good at it, but bards are one of the best with buffing spells. They get so many good spells to really make you and your allies much, much stronger. So that's where you want to focus most of your effort. But yeah, a couple of cure spells, not so bad. Some spells to up your Inspire Courage, which again, those themselves are buffing spells. Swift Invisibility in order to make it so that you're invisible. Very good. But yeah, the bard, you're generally going to be the support character. So that's basically kind of the way you should really look at it. Grabbing some armor, definitely worth it. There are some feats to make it so you can cast in medium armor, but you need proficiency with it as well to make it work. So it's a little bit feat heavy. There's a number of other choices out there. So there's a lot of good spells for bards. It's a really, really big list in all reality. You're going to want to make sure that you're not just looking at the player's handbook. If your DM allows access to the spell compendium, use it. There are some great spells in there. If he's allowing spells from like Complete Scoundrel, use that. You use any book that you can get your hands on for spell casting. You're gonna want as many spells as you can possibly get, because not rogues, bards are quite the quite the good spellcasters. Again, not as good as a wizard or a sorcerer, but they're close. I'd say they're about 3/4 as good. There's a little bit of debate on that. They do actually have full caster level, so that's nice. So technically they're a full caster, but I mean, not really. They only get up to 6 level spells. I'd say 3/4 personally. With like wizard, sorcerer, cleric, and druid being full casters, and then like ranger and paladin being quarter casters, because they're pretty bad at it. They're not very good at casting. They've got some stuff, but it's no, they're not casters. Bards are, though. Bards very much are, and they're not the jack of all trades that they're portrayed to be in the book. They're buffers. They're also diplomats. So other spells that would be great to look into, or anything that help you with diplomacy in any sort of way, either the skill directly or just things that like improve your attitude with people, or help help just get people to listen to you, things like that. There's a number of things that can be really good for bards. Yeah. Number of mind affecting spells which aren't bad to try and like make people do what you want. I'm pretty sure bards get a number of those, so those aren't bad to look into. Yeah. Bards, they're a good class. They do a lot of things, but yeah, try and focus on your main roles, which would be the caster of the group. So you're basically the wizard of the group, but you're also the buffer of the group, with your potentially Dragonfire Inspiration or just regular Inspire Courage. And then also you're the diplomat of the group. Yeah, there's a lot of really good spells. I don't really want to name too many of them here. Named a couple of particularly good ones, but yeah, that's basically what I have on bards for spell advice. If you got anything you want to add, feel free to leave that down in the comments below. I always love hearing from you guys. If you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a like. Maybe subscribe to the channel for more D&D 3.5 content. Ring that notification bell so you never miss out on a video. Anyways, as always, I'm Mitch, and I'll be seeing you